Foster.
All right, we'll call a meeting to order here on June 7th, 2022, 7 o'clock. We'll have board roll call, approval of agenda from June 7th. Approval of minutes, which were the minutes from April 19th. And then we're gonna have some discussion on the local cannabis control commission, discussion on businesses in town, and municipal planning grant review and discussion, public comment and adjourn. So look for a motion for that, and we'll do
I'll move the motion.
Second.
motion second, all in favor?
You gotta do roll call because you got
Yeah, we'll go
I
around.
roll call because of, Jim Winchester.
Brian Harris.
John Bashy,
Megan Randall.
Fred Muller.
Michelle Peckrell.
and all those in favor will go around the board that way.
Aye.
Megan,
Megan, aye.
Fred?
Fred, aye.
Jim, I.
Brian, I.
You skipped.
Michelle.
Okay, and I'm an aye.
Threw me off when Jim went. I was like, oh, I guess I'll go.
Well, yeah.
I have it.
Going around there.
All right, so approval of, approval of June 7th, for our approval of our agenda.
I haven't seen the minutes from, are there, I guess they're online somewhere.
There was a planning commission packet that got emailed out that has the minutes in it.
My computer's in the shop.
I can print them for you if you want.
I don't know.
But just so next time for any meeting, we'll always send you a packet with the agenda ahead.
Yeah, it's just my computer's in the shop, so I'm stymied. Like, please finish it.
We had a motion?
I move we approve.
The minutes,
Minutes.
Second.
I'm gonna abstain, having read them.
All in favor, Megan?
I think I'll
said she's
abstain. I
Oh, you're
didn't.
abstaining.
Because she doesn't have a hard copy. She hasn't read
I
them.
got you.
Fred, aye.
Aye.
Michelle, I.
Brian, I.
And John, aye. All right, let's see, we got that, yeah. Approval of minutes are done. And then, so now we're on to discussion of local cannabis control. So what we've, again, we're, the ones that were at the meeting, heard what was going on. They just wanted, select board's tasking us with discussing a little bit here, so we're just gonna discuss it and see what the thoughts are of it going forward. I think most of it's gonna be about discussion of, do we agree with having a board? Do we think that, or no board, or something in between? What are the thoughts around the board, Jimmy?
Now, just how it works with the control substance, alcohol. So in Pownell, I want a store, I go to Julie or the town clerk, get a form, put my people down there and give her a check. And then it goes before the select board. Select board generally knows people in town a little bit. They move it on. Then it goes to the alcohol control board. And they investigate the people that are on your board. See if there's anybody that's not, shouldn't be there. And then they issue a license. I assume this will be with the cannabis board. And they also control cigarettes too. So the liquor control handles alcohol and cigarettes. So they'll sting you, they'll do whatever they gotta do, check you out. And I assume this will be pretty much with it.
Would it be a separate commission, or would it be part of the alcohol and cigarette?
I assume it will follow the same lines.
Follow the same
Well,
lines,
the
but be
states-
separate, right?
Yeah, the state's issuing, all the rules and regulations.
Oh, I see, okay.
And it's gonna, I think in September, they're gonna take applications.
Yeah, and they're issuing licenses as well.
Right. But it'll follow that process.
For my understanding of it, and Brian probably fill us in better on this, but my understanding was that we don't, as a town, don't have any control over it anyway, state regulation.
Essentially, your only control is gonna be whether or not you opt in to allow it in your town. I think, and Tara could probably correct me, but you can opt out of that completely. Or if you choose to opt in or just ignore it, the state takes it over and they'll issue the permits. All an applicant has to do is say, yep, I abided by the local regulations, and the state may or may not check against that.
So I think we ought to have some more local
Yeah,
control.
but even the local control part of it, we're limited to essentially zoning bylaws, and you can't craft any zoning bylaws specifically targeted against it.
That's my understanding. So there's
Even as
there's no
simple as
rules.
regulating like where it can or can't be grown, like you can't craft a regulation saying, oh, our zoning bylaw says you can only grow it in RR1, but nowhere else, like you can't do that.
Right. Falls has just issued a permit for someone to grow over there.
So what's,
That's what I'm saying. My understanding is really we don't have
It's,
any
it's
real
really
control.
weird how the state is in my opinion, it's really weird how the state's doing it. It's not classified as agriculture. So if you decide to take an actual working farm that has the state and federal subsidies and grow marijuana there, you lose all that classification. So essentially the property would then be eligible to be taxed at the higher normal property tax rate.
oh, you don't get the agricultural.
You don't.
What a rip.
So and my understanding is the state did that to disincentivize farmers from moving away from agricultural consumption crops to cannabis.
Then they don't want to go with the tax break.
Yeah. Even though they can make more money on cannabis, it's kind of like, well, you're going to lose all this. So are you going to really make more money? It might. That's how I took that part of the legislation.
Interesting. So what is the feeling on the select board? Well, in the town, do people want to opt in or opt out? I mean, I'm indifferent either way, actually.
Most people want it because they don't understand what's gonna, the behind the scenes of it, like what's entailed. That's my impression of it, the people I've talked to. Like, once you start explaining it, because people are like, oh, it's gonna bring jobs, the town's gonna make money. It's like, the town's not gonna make any money on it. We can't impose an excise tax unless we do it across the board to all businesses.
In Massachusetts, the towns make money.
Yeah, and a lot of, like Colorado, like other states do.
Right.
Because they're allowed to, but Vermont has specifically said no to that. At least right now, the state does their whole thing where they're allowing themselves to make like up to, I think, $4 million on it.
We sent them all to Colorado years ago to investigate it. The legislature went to Colorado. So what they came up with, I don't know.
It seems very much like it's an on-the-fly legislation.
Yeah.
Like this is gonna be an evolving, go ahead, Michelle.
Wait, so if there's a dispensary or something in town, there's no tax advantage for the town,
Other than property tax,
which would just be at a regular
a regular tax rate.
tax.
Yeah, you
Well, like
you can't treat that type of an establishment any different than
Right.
other businesses.
Same in any business.
Yeah.
That's why my feeling is, I mean, this is my feeling on it. I've been thinking about it quite a bit. The board's obviously everybody's gonna have their own decision, but my feeling is having another board is just kind of a nonsense thing.
My feeling was you can only control it through zoning. So really the DRB should just be the
only one?
cannabis commission.
But I mean, even then, if there's nothing really to regulate, it's a business, you put a building in or this and that, give a permit for that and that's it. There's really
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
The reason to have a commission is to have some kind of a say, or you really.
But even then,
you don't have much say in
you have to give an approval, yay or nay, in a speedy manner. And if you say no, you can't just say, well, because we don't want it after you've opted in.
Right.
You have to be able to point specifically to your zoning bylaws that you already have in place before this and say, due to this zoning bylaw right here, they can't have this type of business in this location.
would be the ramifications of opting out. What would the town lose by opting out?
Is there any clause in there too close to the school? Things like that.
You can't have direct retail within 500 feet of a school, but you can cultivate it within that 500 feet, but it cannot be abutting to the school. So I liken the example to Fry's old house that's just sold across the street from the school. You can't sell it you can't cultivate it there, but you can go kitty corner to like Joel's property on the corner and you could cultivate there. He'd still be within the 500 feet, so he couldn't sell it there.
Yeah, it's.
But you could, right across the street on the corner of Center and 7, that house on the corner there or Armstrong's old store, you could sell it right there.
Okay,
You're 500 feet away from school.
yeah.
You can also opt in at any time, so if the legislature changes and they decide to give municipalities some of that excise tax that they're collecting, it's like 14% they're gonna collect off the state. So if they decide to give towns some of that money, then we can opt in at that point, if it's what the board.
How is this decided whether to opt in or not? Is it the select?
The select board has decided. Now, the select board could choose to put it up to popular vote, but
But it already,
we're,
it did already pass.
yeah, it did, but that was a non-binding resolution, I thought.
And I thought it was also, yeah.
Vote.
Yeah,
I think that along with the select board decision is what the state would want. is
Yeah.
opting in.
So, and I mean, right now, judging by the last meeting we had, everybody seems in favor of it, but to me, like, the more I've read into it and the more I've sat and thought about it, like, there's not, in my opinion, there's not enough local control allowed by the state. Like, if they could at least have given towns the option of being able to better regulate where you can and can't have it, other than through zoning bylaws. Like, to me, like, I have no problem with a grow operation in town, but like say the little gray house over there right off Center Street that's up for sale. It's sitting on what, an acre and a half? By the state rules, they could turn that whole property into a grow operation and have 10, 15,000 plants there.
sure. Wouldn't be.
I'm pretty sure the neighbor that is gonna end up buying, Pete's house might have an issue with that. Smelling that from April through October. I mean, they might not, but
No, but the issue is also, I see down county, the smell of it. The neighbors complain about the smell of it.
yeah,
And this, I see the problem here in cannabis is, is this. It's the edibles that drive me crazy. Kids are gonna get into it, animals are gonna get into it. I mean, careless people are, they leave things around, the kids know where the cookie jar is. And as far as smoking it or whatever, I don't know about that, but I have a problem with the edibles.
now see, I don't have so much a problem with that because people that are gonna put the time and the money into creating edibles, they're not just, it's not the boogeyman. They're not gonna be handing the stuff out at Halloween and spiking
No,
kids'
but
candy bags.
you leave a tray after you have the party. I don't know. Hey.
No, I get what you're saying, Jim.
You had a party, Jimmy.
I've never been there, but.
The one problem I know, well, everybody who does it or grows it is gonna obviously take some security precautions, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
But when Carl was growing, or not Carl, his brother was growing the hemp over here.
Yep.
People were running in and out from the wood lines and everywhere else trying to get to it, thinking didn't know if it was hemp or not. They just went out and grabbed it. And is that gonna happen? You know what I mean? It was.
Now, I believe there are guidelines in the state part, from the state part of it, as far as like, I think what level of security you are kind of required to have. It doesn't like, let me see if I can find it quick.
But even then, the security's only just as good as what it is. It's, somebody's gonna find ways.
The town actually has really no say over cultivation.
No, they.
Right.
No, they don't.
You know what, I guess,
That's my problem.
I think the 16th, we got Nelson coming in.
I mean, I don't know how Jimmy feels about it, but on a DRB board, if we do
He's
this.
got her hand up.
Go ahead.
what I wonder about is who are these growers? I mean, are they gonna be local guys, like local people?
One would hope.
Women, like,
Well, I know a handful of people that are extremely interested in setting up growing operation, not to retail it. They want to be wholesalers to distribute for, across the state.
doing it indoors?
I think there's four. Well, I think you have to go in and say, you're gonna have to have winter products.
Yeah, well,
You know,
you get tighter control over your product, so you can depending on what you grow and how you grow it, you can do like 20-hour grow cycles where it's like 20 hours of daylight. So obviously you're only going to do that in like a greenhouse.
Greenhouse.
And you can, I've had many long conversations. So you get right down to it, you can control the light, the humidity, everything. And you can attain different levels of what you're looking for a plant to do, not just THC, but the more potentially medicinal side of it to where you get different effects from it.
You get caught by a high light bill.
Yeah. Well, no, but no, you don't get caught anymore. It's-
No, I understand. No, I'm saying that.
But that used to be how you'd get caught.
Yeah, that's how you got caught. Yeah.
So, I guess, is it xenophobic of me to say I kind of like to.
I mean, Mac Molding is building grow containers.
Yes.
Like they've wholeheartedly embraced it. They're building like shipping containers that are all enclosed, climate controlled, lighted greenhouses essentially. To where you can just park it, you plug it in, you set it up with your water and your electric, and it's an all-in-one grow operation.
Yep. And it's being, yes.
Yeah, they're really cool.
So what, they're selling those?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they
I
were.
thought you were gonna.
Oh, it's
The old
like
Mac
a,
molding building.
it's like a multi-million-dollar contract. That's what their big hiring thing was. We lost a lot of good people from Command up there that they're working on that stuff.
Yep.
Well, as far as the board members, I mean, I think we could hammer this for hours. as far as talking.
yeah.
But as far as it goes, I'm gonna go around the board and everybody will have a little chance to say what they feel about it. Cause I just want to get a general idea of what each person's thinking. Do they want it? Would they like it? Or they don't want it and why? I just want a brief description from each person. Go ahead, Megan. We'll put you up first.
Nice, you don't want to be first.
Think about it. I have no problem either way, but I wouldn't like to see a lot of strangers. I don't like the idea of a lot of people with big money coming in and just turning the town topsy-turvy. That's the only thing I don't like.
But we're all that way. Yeah.
But
But that is a chance we could potentially take is
Yep.
somebody comes in and buys 500 acres.
that's,
Wasn't that mentioned in
Pretty
during
little
the
town.
select board meeting that they would want to, or maybe somebody just asked if you could require that they're a resident of the town or they become a resident of the town.
Nope.
Absentee.
You can't.
Operations are like worthless.
yeah, there's nothing for us.
Like absentee owners of trailer
You
parks.
can't because you can't craft a zoning ordinance that says you have to be a resident.
Absentee owners of flea
You just get
markets.
taxed at a slightly different rate.
Or to run a general store. You
Yeah.
don't have to be.
Is that, you have enough, is that all you have?
Yeah, that's, in other words, I think we ought to go, if we could be cautious about how we go into this, but I guess at this point, the state's decreed what they've decreed, so people voted on it, in favor of it.
Fred?
I have a whole bunch of thoughts on this thing. It's like the vote is like, it's an uninformed vote. And I don't like to nullify or talk down on any vote that has occurred, but it was like, there was no information given. It was the question was put out there and everybody, yeah, sure. But it's like, some might have thought there's some advantage for the town, but it doesn't appear there's any advantage by opting in for the town, and it doesn't appear that there's any negative ramifications if we don't opt in, or if we opt out.
And there's the potential down the line that the state may open up the excise tax and distribute it to some of the towns.
But then we can opt in.
But that's a maybe. There's no guarantee on it.
So maybe it's premature to opt in now. I guess that's where I'm leaning. It's like, there's just so
Except that the
so
thing is-
little advantage. We don't even know what disadvantages would be involved, but there's just so little advantage and so little information. Why jump right in and opt in to what?
Well, the one
To
reason-
something that's a big mystery.
Yeah, except for the fact that Powell is really pretty well situated in terms of transportation of the goods, and so, you wouldn't, it's like Bob Jarvis always says you don't want to discourage entrepreneurs.
But we're discussing retail, right? Are we?
That's entrepreneurs.
No, we're discussing
Grow?
all of it.
All of it.
You don't get to pick and choose what you allow into your town. It's all or
It's,
nothing.
it's either A, you choose in or you opt into it and you get groweries, dispensaries, everything, or you opt out, we have none in the
No,
town.
I don't think you can't opt out of the growing. You can only opt in or opt out of.
For the retail.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is only one thing.
Yeah, the
Okay.
state.
Anybody who wants to can grow.
Okay, so it is only,
I feel okay
We're
with
opting
people
in, we're opting
growing.
in when,
I
at a
agree
time
with
when
that,
there's no advantage.
Any new crop is a good
Right.
crop.
And it could come back to, well, now there's an advantage, but towns that already opted in can't take advantage of the advantage, you know? Because you already opted in, so there's no incentive for you to opt in now, because, to benefit from it. So I think waiting might be the prudent thing to do. Until either more information is, or more benefit is provided for the town.
I mean, you can still have a brewery here, but we can't.
Yeah.
We're gonna have retail, we're opting out of retail.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Michelle, anything?
So the excise tax the state is taking, has there been, I mean, do we think that they would actually share it, or do we think that's completely off the table?
The CCB board is trying to get them.
So they're working on it, but they're not, there's no guarantees.
And they're hired staff for like investigations or any of that stuff. Yeah, they're like really.
What is CCD?
The CCB is the Cannabis Control
Oh,
Board.
board.
So that's what it's called at the state level. And then if you did one here, it would be the local Cannabis Control Commission.
There's no tax advantage to us.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, people want to grow whatever, but yeah, as far as retail, there's no tax advantage for us, and there's no incentive for anybody to come set up here.
Right.
Why?
Honest. Yeah, my friend's got, he's growing. He's actually from California, commercial operator, knows more about it than all of us put together. And I said, would you want to open a, dispensary down here? But if there's not any advantage to it, I mean, he's going to open it up in Bennington or, somewhere up there. But it doesn't even, the way the state has it set up, it's kind of a non-issue for us at this point.
Well, we don't know. We don't know.
Yep.
If they want to share the excise tax, then I would say, yeah, I mean, whether we opt in or out, I really don't think it matters because we're not going to get anything to open here.
That's moot. We'll see. We're ground one.
Yeah.
I personally like the system that we have for alcohol and tobacco. It's worked for my lifetime here. You go to Julie or the select board, and then you go to the select board, and then it goes on to the liquor control, and they handle it from there. It's going to have to be investigated. The people that get involved in this, the background checks are going to have to be there. And
Yeah, I think that's gonna end up coming later on.
yeah, well, that liquor control, when you put your name up there and they set it up and put all your names of the people on your boards and stuff, you're not going to have anybody in there. We've seen this with the racetrack and all kinds of things. People have been denied because of the background check from the liquor control. They can't have a liquor license
So
because they're bad people.
liquor control is the one that does the background check.
Right.
The local boards don't.
No. They just pass everything along to liquor control, and they walk in, they sting you, they do this, they do that. They're on the ball.
Yeah.
And 42 years I've been dealing with the liquor control.
What you're talking about, to me, is really keeping it simple,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't see where we would need a local,
no, I don't-
a local
The
commission.
problem behind that is, do we have that kind of paperwork? Is that what they have to do, is fill out to be growing here?
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to fill out a
You're
form.
gonna have to put up all your people on your boards and stuff it, give it to Julie, give her a check. She moves it to the selectmen move it to liquor control, and then they issue you a license or they don't. And that's where it ends. And it's worked very well for a long time. And I'm assuming, I assume the state's gonna give those people. They're in place, they've been in place forever. Local controls.
So that would be the cannabis control board that would. Yeah, no, what's the point of having a local commission?
Well, that was
Sit
my
around
point.
and
I don't see it. Brian, what do you think?
I have a lot of different thoughts on it. I mean, in principle, I'm not opposed to the idea. In practice, to the way the state has it set up, I'm opposed to it only because of the lack of local control. Even if the state had set up like what Jim suggested, setting it up through like a liquor control board, because, you're not allowed to sell cigarettes next to the school. You can't grow tobacco next to the school.
You gotta be 21, the same as gonna be cannabis.
Yeah. I mean, in that respect, there's age restrictions and, you have to track it seed to sale, and every step of the way has to do that. But, you're relying on the state, and, the information's only going to be as good as what people enter into the computer.
Right.
Unless the state actively audits systems and keeps tight tabs on it.
So that would cost money. They'll have to.
That's going to cost money, and
That's where the excise tax is.
that's where they're going to get their funding from.
That's the money.
And there's a pool of money available. You leave it to the government's going to spend the money available.
Well,
That's what they do.
It would take probably 10 years to get it all rolling to the point where
Yeah.
there really
I mean,
was
it might go quicker if this,
surplus,
if it blows up in the state and the state hits their max cap on what they're going to pull for the excise tax, because there's a cap. If the state hits that in like the first 30 days, then the state might be like, ooh, there's money to be made, and they might increase that. But if it takes them all year long and they don't even make half of that,
Then there'll be no.
yeah, they're not going to bother doing anything.
The only example of that was, when the racetrack was here, we got Pownell got $200 a day, every day they raced. And that was an incentive, for the town.
Yeah, and then there was all the local stuff. They allowed all the,
Right.
everybody to do fundraisers and stuff down there.
Right, but, anyway, I just.
But I don't see cannabis bringing 20,000 people every weekend to the town.
No.
I don't think,
Bring a Grateful Dead concert to the town and
yeah, but I don't think I don't know.
Well, the liquor
We
control.
want that?
If I go buy cigarettes in New Hampshire and bring them here and sell them, or I go to a cheaper place in New Hampshire, no tax, and buy booze and stuff, they'll come in and check the stamps. They will come in and check everything. And, you can't do that. But a lot of people have tried it over the years, Oh, you're going to New Hampshire, and you have to have, in order to sell cigarettes and booze, you have to have a special stamp that you pay for. I think it's very expensive to the state to have that stamp. So cigarettes coming from North Carolina and all them, they can't pass muster.
Yeah.
So the fear of getting caught is not a good one. So there's a lot of issues here.
Well, knowing you're gonna lose your license.
Well,
Yeah,
So-
that's the best of time.
That'll close you down.
That to close you down, yeah.
I guess I would say, I'm not really that much in favor of the retail part. The agricultural part I like.
Well, those who want it,
Yeah, but they can go to Bennington and get it.
Oh, no, there's an advantage of selling it. Oh, yeah. You sell the paraphernalia that goes with it. Yeah.
Well, there's an advantage. The town could make a lot of money at it, but again, it's regulated by the state.
Right.
So there's our.
I mean, there's the potential to get like, a Kind place or like a little shop like that set up to where you make money as a business on, the property tax side of it. There is that aspect of it. And in that regard, I am in full favor of this. My biggest issue is you can grow it anywhere. Like it's not, I'm trying to find the section in our packet.
Control that though.
Yeah.
You can't just grow it anywhere. There's going to be neighbors complaining. Well, we know what this is all about.
What do we, okay, I get what you're saying. Right now, what do we have on the books that could regulate that?
I don't think.
No, I don't think we
We don't
have.
have anything.
Nothing.
No.
We don't have a smell nuisance in town.
No,
We don't.
And that would be about all you could do.
That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say earlier is, we send a DRB, and what we would get is a permit that says, hey, I want to put this building in or.
Yeah.
And then we wait for
We have
complaints.
this permits coming up, but, they would put it in and we have to look at it and go, okay, our bylaws say this about it. Okay, it clears all the stuff and there you go. You got it. We can't say anything about it. I don't care what's in it. You know, I mean, if you're going to put a greenhouse in, we can't say what's in the greenhouse. We just want to know if the greenhouse permits it.
Yep.
Here's the requirements and that's
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Setback requirements.
As far as the board, the DRB is doesn't have any regulations unless they say that greenhouse has to be over here.
Yeah, it can't be
and
anything
have
that
this over here,
specifically
right.
targets
Just what they're.
cultivation. So
Right.
even if you do like a smell ordinance, like Tara just said, you get people call and complain about a
Can't do
farm. For the.
Oh, yeah. Oh, people
So when we're
complain
gonna, at
about.
that point, you're gonna go down, you're gonna
And
tell
that
Joe
has
he's gotta
come
shut
up.
down.
Oh, it has
He
come up.
can't because that's legally a farm and he's.
That's come up in different, people moved up from the city with the COVID thing and realized there's a pig farm next door.
That's why a lot of the small communities are right to farm.
You're dealing with a
Because-
tannery town. We know all about it.
So, I mean, from my view of the whole thing, I've been looking through a lot of it and I'm just not seeing it. I think, like I said, it's the permitting, if it was something that we could control a little bit and say, hey, we can regulate a few things in it.
To me,
I
even
would
if
say
you
a
could
board-
regulate it and say you can only grow if you have at least like 6 acres of land.
Right.
Like something like that to where, you know, you're not likely to get somebody who's packed into a subdivision down there.
Right.
Who decides, oh, I've got a 75-foot backyard. I want to pack 1,000 plants in it. You know,
Right. And again, so if we have no control over that, I think putting together a board is just kind of nonsense because you're just going to sit here and talk like we are today.
Yeah.
And we can't do nothing about it.
We need to report to the select board.
essentially we just give them what our opinion is. I mean,
So that's our-
we're not voting on anything.
Right, we're not voting on it, we're just gonna say our opinion.
And so basically, we're kind of in agreement that a local commission is a ridiculous idea.
I'm
And,
thinking that's where we're at. I mean, around the board, if I say around the board, we're all
I
gonna
could
pretty
care
much.
less if they retail, yes or no, whatever.
Opting in,
I like the idea of growing.
opting out.
I personally, again, opt in or opt out. We'll go around the board.
Well, I mean,
Right?
I can't decide, go that way.
I would say not opting in at this time. That's what I would say, not opting in at this time.
we can revisit it, but this, I believe, is going in effect in what, October?
Yeah.
So if we decide to opt in and we decide we want to try to do something through zoning, we have to go through the zoning bylaw changes, which that's not an overnight process.
No.
In anything you have, you can't retroactively hold the zoning bylaws against somebody that already opens up.
Anything with zoning, it's what, it's
So you could regulate like signage, store frontage, like you could any business.
Right.
We have that already.
Yeah, so you could say you can't, or we could change it to where businesses can't have signs out by the road. You could say your signs in front of your business can only be, like what we already do.
We already have
Right,
it.
that's what we do now. The only
We
thing
have
I
all
think
that.
if we were gonna change anything would be a smell or something like that, if we could change something.
But that's a very, but
you still
that's
have
too
to go through a
subjective.
process.
That's too subjective.
I wouldn't go there. You got too many farmers around. Thank God they're still here.
Well, I mean, it's too subjective because what one person finds offensive, somebody else might find intoxicating and love it.
Correct.
Like some people can't stand the smell of coffee, so walking into Stewart's, they absolutely hate it. So are you gonna say, you gotta entertain a complaint, somebody says, oh, well, I don't like the smell down there, I wanna file a smell complaint.
Yeah, we don't want to go there.
I don't wanna go down there.
So any slight alteration of the bylaws, you gotta go through a process where you gotta have meetings, gotta have public hearings,
Yeah, you still have to go through all that.
possibly even a vote, and
So what bylaws would
I
we
think-
change? We already have, we're
There's-
zoned for agriculture and different zones.
I just wouldn't,
But it's not
Yeah.
considered agriculture.
I wouldn't,
They can grow it anywhere.
I wouldn't give that any consideration, the zoning, bylaws or any of that, I wouldn't give it any consideration. I would just say at this point, there's not enough information and there's no advantage whatsoever to opt.
I mean, all we're gonna do is prevent somebody from opening a store to be able to sell it.
And,
That's what we're opting out of.
yeah, But we're not opting out.
Because that's what I'm in favor of.
The opting out, we're just like saying we're not opting in at this time because there's really no reason to,
Yeah, we don't see any benefits to it.
nothing at all.
I mean, I don't see any benefits to opting in. Michelle, opting in or opting out?
I don't think we need to opt in at this point. If it's, I mean, if you're gonna grow, you're gonna grow. If you're going to be a serious grower who's trying to do wholesale to dispensaries and things like that, you're not growing it outdoors. And if you're growing it indoors and you're a professional, you're using a filtration system and nobody's going to smell it. So I think some of these things, don't matter. And I swear somewhere in the bylaws, there was something, because I remember this coming up in a meeting about smell. There is like a nuisance thing, and I just can't remember where it is in there, but there's something about, being irritating to your neighbors on things like that. But you're not going to, a professional grow operation selling wholesale, you're not even going to know that it's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to stay under the radar because they're not going to want somebody to come rip them off.
Okay. Jimmy?
No, I don't see it's necessary to do it. I'll take the plan that we got right now in place.
Brian? Well, you're gonna have to make a decision up there anyway.
Yeah, but this is just our opinion. I'm allowed to give my opinion.
Said, don't opt in?
I'm just saying I like the way it processed now, the town clerk, the liquor control, the alcohol and cigarettes. Let these people go in that same
Yeah,
road.
but do you opt in to retail cannabis in our town or not?
We already voted on it, didn't we?
Oh, okay.
The town
We
voted
didn't
on it.
have any information. We just voted. It was something on the ballot.
I know that. I mean, this place, Powell said they
The state crafted it to be vague and just to get a bunch of hell yeses,
Sell it in town. All the other license types are allowed to operate. You have no say, no control. So, yeah, so opting in at this point, we can opt in later if somebody's interested in,
Selling.
selling in
Someone
town.
will be interested. My God. Are you kidding?
Well, I know there'll be people.
And it specifically says municipalities can opt in at any time. So
So
it's not
Are
something.
we, if somebody wants to open a retail operation, are we going to give them a tax break of some sort?
That's up to Montpelier.
That's not.
We're not gonna give-
Yeah, it's not even up to us.
I was gonna say, we as a town don't give tax breaks on
No.
business.
No?
we don't have any breaks
So, I
to
mean,
give.
somebody wanting to open here, I mean,
Town got nothing.
we're,
other than a property.
we're rural, where you go to Bennington and you open something, people can just walk to your shop. It's like.
I guess the
I don't
difference
know
is, look at
somebody
the
opening one here.
tax we got for property before Dollar General on that property versus what they pay now. That's what the town's benefit is out of that.
Supposing I won't close to Williamstown. Supposing I want to sell it. I'm in 42 years there.
You know what? If you start selling it just to say I bought from you, I would go down there and buy it.
No, that's not the point. The point is,
I would-
I'm interested in this.
Me too, Jimmy.
I mean,
I like the edibles though, Jimmy.
no, I got people, listen, I know people are cooking edibles now. I know people, there's 4 people who want to grow it. There's been a lot of conversation about this for a long time. I've had realtors come on and ask me if I want to sell my store because they want to open a cannabis place. This is not going to be quiet. We've sold, Massachusetts was 21 for years. Vermont was 18. All those kids come over here for years. I know them all today. They're all good kids. They did what they did. High school basketball team stopped their buses, bought their beer. This is a new game. Smell, we've had a tannery for years. A lot of people work there, made their money. We've been through a lot of things, a lot of farmer smell. I'm looking at this definitely as something that could be interesting.
Okay, so you're in.
But there's no, I know that. But it doesn't matter to me. I'm 86. but I'm looking at it as a person like, hey, wait a minute, there's opportunities here.
Yeah, okay.
And it's, hey.
So you say opt-in for retail.
Well, I'm just saying, I like the system that works right now. I like going to Julie, get my license, all of this, the alcohol.
That's not the question, Jimmy.
No, it is the question to me. I like,
I know, but he asked.
then I'm not answering
Opt-in
it.
or not?
I'm not answering. Why? We can opt in anytime.
Okay, yeah.
I like the
So I
system that gets me selling alcohol. And that's it.
Yeah.
The liquor control people have been controlling me for 40-something years. I know all about those guys, okay? I'm not, let them handle it. They know their business.
Well, I'm guessing, so from what I hear, there's still mixed feelings on it either side. It's gonna be. I mean, I really don't have a problem with stores opening up. I just don't.
The retail side of it, I'm
trying to
fine with.
Right.
If,
It's just,
I'm
I
fine
know
with
there's no benefit to the town. I just wish the state would open up a little bit.
it brings in more foot traffic, so I mean, you'll get
does.
ancillary traffic to like Jim and Jeff down there and Stewart's and DG.
Yes, it would definitely bring more traffic to the town, so.
I think
I mean, if we-
will.
You mean so people?
Oh, yeah.
Right, I mean, if we look at
Get
it
the
as
munchies and then they go to.
investment,
Open a Dorito store.
I mean, as far as, what I would see from it, as far as going forward with it, if we let everything, we opt in and let everything happen. Yes, the town's not getting anything out of it, but people in the town will get something out of it.
Yeah, I mean,
Meaning-
the people
meaning
that
that
want
the
it, they're not
stores
gonna have to
can-
travel as far. You might pick up a handful of jobs potentially.
Right.
A little bit of added tax value as far as like a property tax
Some
increase,
stuff that way.
potentially.
It's risk.
Yeah, it's, every business is a risk.
Right.
I mean, the retail side of it, yeah, I'm fine with that. My whole issue is with the growing aspect of it.
Yeah, I guess you're right,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm not opposed to growing it, like, I just wish there's been a little bit of control that the town could have
Yeah,
had.
yeah, yeah.
Arnold's been growing it for years.
Well, this is true.
Well, again, our feelings are both mixed, I think, both ways. It's just gonna be, it's not up to us anyway. We're just throwing our opinion at it.
But if the select board votes yes on this, then it's gonna come down to, we're back to the commission that we have to form. Who's gonna be the commission? Like what?
Why do we have, to? If we opt in, we must have a local commission?
No, you don't have to. You can just leave it to the
I
state.
still say even
I think it's-
even if you opt in, I don't see a reason to have a board period. I just
I
don't
don't
see that.
either.
We could do it later on if we needed to, if we get some control, but.
You know who would be on the board? DRB and us.
Yes.
I don't want to see.
Same old, same old.
Yeah.
Well, that was gonna be my
machine.
suggestion, was just
Yeah.
People
the
sitting.
DRB is the board.
Yeah.
Just like the select board is also the health department, the sewer
Right,
commission.
Right,
So you draw from the same two groups.
right.
Yeah, so it's easier just to say, you are also this. That way the select board isn't having.
You might get some younger people.
Every year.
I don't think so, but it may be so. I'm not saying, but I mean, these were the people that the board would say, you guys combine and do your thing.
Okay, well, is there anything else we need to talk about here tonight?
I think that wraps up most of that. I mean, we could beat this,
What about the, okay,
beat it forever, but.
Such an uninteresting topic.
All right, let's move on then. We'll move on to bringing business into town. So since this is bringing business into town, apparently it's going to be bringing business to town whether we want it or not. Other things also, and the reason I brought it up, I wanted this on the agenda was, again, I was on a board before, the EDC board, and we were tasked with trying to find ways of getting businesses to town. That board is kind of dissolved now. So what I was thinking, and Stacy brought it back up, one of our last meetings, I think that was in our April 19th meeting, if I'm not mistaken. We brought it up about businesses coming to town, and what are we doing to try to do that? So that was why I put this on, and what I want to do is just start getting some kind of discussion going on it, to thoughts of what you guys might like and what we could do as a town to put our ideas together to help bring businesses in town. We're also looking at, locations for industrial again. That's another topic that we have. So it's going to be businesses and what do we bring in? What do we look for? On the EDC, what we were talking about is what kind of business would or could we get to town? And how do we do that? What's the approach of getting somebody here? So I just wanted to get some discussion on it. We don't have to, stay on it forever. We're just something to start to think about and get some ideas moving on it. Anybody have any quick ideas right now or kinds of businesses?
I've been on 3 economic development boards for umpteen years, and we beat the same old horse. If you want to come here and the opportunities here, somebody wants to come buy my business or an existing business, then come on, put up your money and tell us what you want to do and take your chances. And I think I think the future's bright. I think Pownell's in a good spot for it. I really do. And this cannabis thing might open up some doors, but there's definitely a potential for a restaurant here. We got a building to sell next door. There's, it could be.
I've said this several times, if we're looking at trying to get businesses, retail businesses or whatever to set up shop in Pownell, there might be part of that would be discussing slowing the traffic down. Right now, the highway, this highway in particular is built for going through Pownell as fast as you can.
And it is.
Getting through there, don't look side to side, don't stop, just go.
Turning from the racetrack, going by my place 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, we have a passing lane that empties, that stops just before Barber's Pond Road. It's dangerous.
The racetrack just drives me crazy because there's 2 spots on this side of the railroad track that I would love to see a truck stop put in one up there.
Yeah.
We need.
You mentioned it several times.
We need diesel badly. And we've got a lot of trucks here and Stewart's just, drives me crazy driving by there. All them big trucks parked.
Always alongside the road.
I know, but I mean, we're looking at the properties on the other side of the railroad track, which something happened there, but the 2 out here.
Yeah. There's a couple of
Acres.
good sized parcels there.
And that's, I'd like to see Mr. Solis try and sell something. Talked to him a couple of times, he blah, 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 and this and that. The railroad seems to be a tough nut to crack. But I think we got something to swamp. I think we got 2 crossings, one down at the south crossing. The railroad doesn't like that.
Yeah.
The north entrance, they don't mind that, but it's owed money from past people. And the other one, which was the old, down at the rubbish place, that's a free crossing. There's 2 free crossings in town.
Right.
One was for the town railroad and the other one's down the south. It goes to the,
Used to be those.
well, it goes to the cemetery.
Yeah.
It goes to the cemetery.
Right.
So that's a free one.
Yep.
And the other one's a free one because we had the railroad train station there.
Right.
So the railroad can't touch those.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them swapped to open up the north gate where you got lots of traffic, 2 lanes coming in and out. It's safe for trains, the south crossing's not, but you just can't talk to the railroad. I mean, but we've dealt with Pan Am, we dealt with the B&M, and now it's going to be another railroad spine.
Oh,
Yeah. So I don't know who can talk to the railroad. There must be somebody in this whole goddamn state can talk to the railroad.
So the gentleman coming before the select board,
Yeah, I got you.
yeah.
I mean, we got something to trade. We could close a couple of crossings and get all that traffic from those trucks off of Church Street
Yep.
with that little bridge that eventually is going to fall in. It can't take that traffic.
By the old firehouse.
Yeah, the old firehouse. And those people, but that's negotiation with the railroad. It's out of our hands. Mr. Solar, you know, I talked to him the other day, if you talk to the rubbish people, you know, they say they'd like to, but yes.
So, yeah, the gentleman who's in the Parks and Rec meeting, the gentleman who's coming before the select board had, to me, a controversial idea of right now, the people that own the racetrack are kind of in a bind. They don't have the money to tear it down, to go through the legal process.
Yeah.
However, he said he's researched, I haven't verified any of this, just his word, that there is a plethora of money available to state and federal grants and funding available for a municipality to be able to refurbish that property. So he's going to suggest that the town acquire the racetrack with the intention of we get
Demolish it, yeah.
the money to demolish it, and then either we develop it and lease it out to somebody, or potentially just then turn around and sell it.
What is such acquisition? What's the price tag on
I
that?
don't think there is none. No, he doesn't talk.
They owe 500,000 right now,
Yeah.
but their mortgage is covered by the solar array that's down there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they really don't care to
Pays the taxes, right?
do anything.
I mean, he's hoping for things to grandiose things, but the railroad's kind of blocking the deals.
So I think about the best he'd be willing to hope for at this point is if the town took it from him, left him the solar field, so he gets the money from the solar, and the town take the rest of it. So he walks away scot-free with a guaranteed income, and then the town, we take care of the mess.
Wait, take it from them, like
Well,
pay him?
no, not take as in like eminent domain take,
No,
but like
pay him money for
we,
He's his bird.
whatever the negotiations.
Or a grant.
Or grant, whatever course that would follow. I would have to see anything in writing before I could make a decision on it. Like, but so if the gentleman's idea was if the town were to somehow acquire ownership of that property as a municipal property, they could then apply for grants and through the feds and through the states and different agencies.
What axe to
Tear it
grind
down.
does this guy
We
have?
should probably.
He doesn't, he's just.
Yeah, we don't need to get into this.
He's a great guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna present to the select board on
Yeah,
Thursday.
Yeah.
Huh?
He's gonna present to the select board on Thursday. And
Oh, okay.
he did a short spiel to Parks and Rec, which is why I think Ryan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't that short. It went on for like 40 minutes.
Right.
And I believe the video's on YouTube or Facebook. It was recorded, so it's all public. I'm not divulging anything that was
I
secret.
know, I just was hoping that he'll bring more.
Yeah, and that's what we had suggested, like, because he kept going on and on about the amount of research he's done, the people that he's contacted, the relationships that he's fostered. He's talked to the railroad company and so, like,
On what basis, though?
what do you mean? As a private citizen?
As a private citizen, yeah, I think he's, I'm not gonna say who he is. But anyway, let's just,
I think he's got good intentions and he's got a lot of great ideas. He's got
6.5 miles of good river. This is a great fishing river. I mean, it's a recreational place. This,
No, we allowed them to pave it over though, didn't we?
well, they paved the whole goddamn place.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, it was all growing up.
that's good. That's
The guy that bought the place was a paving company. He built 128. Martin Amadio. He was ruled off. They caught him not putting enough hot top on 128. So for 5 years, he could not bid on a federal job. So he came to Parma and built a racetrack. And did very well. Every inch of that place is hot top. But it's growing stuff out. I was down there looking where to shoot fireworks. My God, I said, this place is growing up like a jungle. So the hot top didn't bother nothing. That's the story of Green Mountains.
Well, as far as that, I think bringing businesses to town is again, we got just looking for locations, which we're gonna be doing. Looking for the locations, if we have them here, reaching out to some places if it's something people are interested in.
I still think that if we could put a little more effort into cleaning up some of the locations that we do have.
Well,
that we
we're
could-
trying to work toward
I
that.
think we got another board like us
You know-
trying to get something through. We were here the other night discussing this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're trying to come together, all fits when we can get it right. We're working, how long we all been working on this?
forever.
forever.
There's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of different personalities across
Right.
3 different boards
Right.
that have to work together.
You know, I mean,
And there's a
even,
lot of moving parts to this.
Yes.
It's not just one simple thing.
No, it isn't.
It's a lot
You know,
of parts
like,
to this whole thing.
I live on a beautiful hill. And so I go there, you know, that's our.
And I do too. That's
Right, right, yeah, yeah. And then you kind of ignore, you put the blinders on when you go on certain roads. But there's so many beautiful hills in Pownell. It's unbelievable. It's been years that every now and then I find a view.
But that's not the image of Pownell.
I know
Oh,
it.
hills. no.
I know it. It's all people think of is,
Hey, Northwest Hills, Medina Rose.
oh,
I mean, it just, so it's there.
it's all
There's two
around.
faces of Pownell. There's so many, you know.
That's-
I always say Pownell is a diamond in the rough.
That's right. It's a.
Totally
it's
is. And it's just a matter of time. When we get these boards all together and we get this right, I'll probably be dead, but,
It's the
You're
best.
not allowed to, Jim.
Pownell is the best kept secret.
it is, really
It
is.
is.
And I think this is probably the first time we've had all 3 boards working together on something.
Yeah, we have.
I don't know of any before that.
Oh, no, nobody.
You know a little more than all of us, but it's,
You couldn't get Pownell together on a bus for a long time.
I mean, that's a big step in itself.
A lot, yeah. We're working in a positive way and if we can get some things done, luckily, knock on wood. End of story. We did it.
Yeah.
We haven't done it. We believe in Pownell. We believe in it, but, boy.
That's
All
it.
right. So we want to move on to public comment then?
Wait,
Well,
there
we're
was-
gonna go to the municipal planning grant and review and discussion.
Sorry, I was looking at an older agenda.
so this is
Oh, well,
that,
that'll work.
My
well,
bad.
we were talking about this months ago, where the
Now,
BCRC will come and write this thing and,
I don't know if it's BCRC yet. We've gotten the grant, right?
So, yeah, we received the grant, we submitted for our first requisition, like 15,000 would be the first. And that is the RFQ that was put out, it went to the banner, it's on the website, and it's at the stores. So the select board will, choose whoever submits.
So they submit a bid.
so they will choose the most qualified and most experienced? Okay, that'll be BCRC.
Well,
And my understanding is going back over this part and pick somebody from that, whoever submits.
Right, exactly.
because BCRC might actually have some skin in the game. They might steer us where they want us to go. And it's like, we might not want that if we can find somebody else. So
Like, yeah.
I'll leave that judgment up to the select board, but
Right.
I think the request for qualifications is a good way to go.
Yeah, it was what was recommended
Yeah.
by the state, actually.
Yeah. But it's gone out to that, so select board's gonna have to review that when those come in and they set that time and do that. So we have it. We're moving forward with it.
Those are due June 17th.
It's just gonna be a decision by them and then we'll start that discussion, full discussion on that and start looking into those locations that we discussed before on the board. And hopefully locate those good properties for that and so we can continue to go forward. Then we gotta submit that back to the select board and let them know.
I think things can really start moving in Pownell. When this project here is finally totally completed.
Yep.
I think it's gonna be a turning point for this town.
Yeah.
And
What
I
does
think
the state?
this building.
Mac Molding was interested in doing something down here. They were putting together some lamps. But now you mentioned something about making this kits for growing cannabis. They like to put things together. They don't really manufacture anything really. And this place down here is a well-used storehouse. I mean, they fixed the roof. Maybe they got, room to put something where you put the widgets together. And Mac's a big company.
I was gonna say and I don't know if they've bought Eagle Square or not, but the old Stanley Tool Building, they're gonna be moving in there, renting out space.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're putting manufacturing in there.
So there's hope.
Assembly work is great.
Yeah, dynamite.
I think they could
Old
open it
Stanley
up down
Tool
here
Building
somewhere.
where? The one in-
Eagle Spur Building?
I might even park my car and take a bike.
Go out through, depending on which way you go, you go out through
Goes down.
Bennington, out past
And Rachel, like,
Collins Market there.
Yeah. Okay, I know where that is. That's a
Yeah.
beautiful old building.
Yeah.
That,
So
that's
they're
a
leasing
restaurant
space
there.
there.
Thing. That's a gorgeous old place.
1819 they got put in there, long time ago.
Yeah, and the water.
Pretty much everybody up to my dad worked in that. Grandfathers, everybody worked in that.
Oh,
A lot of people in my family work there. I worked there for a little while right out of college.
I did a little out of high school or out of college, I mean, too, yeah.
Big contract fell through, so my job was gonna be one of the first ones eliminated, so I got out before layoffs.
Yep, I was out just before they closed. I worked it just before closing.
Well, I got in there and I thought for sure, I'm like, union job, I'm like, I got a job for life as long as I don't screw up.
So so Mac Molding bought that
I
building?
don't know if they bought it or if they're just leasing the location, but I do know they're moving jobs in there.
Some job.
Not their whole operation, just,
at a Stanley Tool.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
So anyway, with municipal planning, again, it's going to the RFQ. So once they approve all that, they'll pick somebody. We're gonna be discussing those locations again and go over that, and hopefully we can determine a good
Yeah.
locations.
Yep,
That's where we're at on that part of it.
sounds good.
Can somebody I don't know if I had missed something, because somebody came to my door. The municipal planning grant that we have right now, what is it for?
We're going to be looking into the industrial areas that we looked at, back in January, I think we were looking at them. We were looking at locations again because it was, when the new bylaws went in, that had gone away apparently. So select board saw that they wanted that in there, and we've been talking about it. In the past, we were talking about it. Now what we're doing is this grant is gonna help get somebody to help us locate those, make sure everything fits the town, and then if it does, we'll mark those out again as industrial area. And
All
then
right.
that's all it pretty much is for.
It's not
Okay.
limited to
That
just
wasn't-
industrial.
Right.
Yeah, because I wasn't here in January, so I had missed
Yeah.
that. All right, so basically it's to get a consultant to come in, help us identify the industrial areas, and we'll have those mapped out. So then
Right.
if businesses want to come in that are suited for those properties, then
Right.
we know what they are. Got it.
Right, and we tentatively picked out 5 locations. So we're gonna, when that person, whoever it is, comes in, we can give those locations to and just say, hey, this is what it is.
What are the tentative 5 locations?
It was racetrack, across from the racetrack where Hart's gravel bed is.
Right?
I'm trying to get them everything. Down
Mac Molding, right?
where,
Ag molding.
Mac Molding building is, along that strip right there.
Yeah.
There was another one down by the jellies and everything. Wasn't there one down?
Well, it was called, what they call the beach.
Yes.
That's
Oh,
kind of,
see, yep.
but would be a recreational place.
Yeah, and then we picked it, again, these are only locations that we were looking at because it has a good, decent area. Is down by the, before the bridge, before you go over into New York side where the farmland is.
I have
It's,
stood.
and it may not be a good location, we don't know, it's just, we just said, hey, there's a potential because it's on these roads, it's on a trucking route.
I just don't see entering Vermont and looking at, it's beautiful. You enter and you see farmland, which is what we are.
But that's not up to us, we're just picking locations, if somebody sells it, they sell it, we don't know what they're gonna do, somebody could buy all that property up and do what it's just whether.
Has
or not it
anybody
works.
talked to the owner?
Listen, you don't need to talk to the owner unless you want to buy it.
It's,
The price of fertilizer might put him out of business, double the price. I've talked to somebody that, listen,
it's-
if somebody wants to sell something, they're gonna sell it.
it's like, it's like, I say it like this, it's like going by Strohmeyer's. They used to be a huge operating farm, tons of cows. Now he's got maybe a dozen because they had to get rid of all that stuff. The cost of everything went up. They sold off every cow they had.
You see, Commissioner Williams,
Now the farm's sitting there doing what?
yeah,
Really, it's
Vacant land.
vacant land.
somebody might buy it.
So right now, coming in from New York, that's zoned as farmland or residential?
Farmland.
Farmland.
It is
Farmland.
right now,
Right.
yes.
We want it, and you're trying to switch it to, possibly switch it to be industrial.
Right.
It could be inclusive of that industrial.
Inclusive of it.
Inclusive, so it could be.
So it's the owner option, he wants to sell, he can sell for a lot.
346 could be another North Side Drive.
Sure could, yeah.
And now,
What do you got when you come in Williamstown?
yeah, same thing.
Come on. I come in here every day to go to the bank.
Now, that could be a non-issue over there simply because I don't know personally, it has to be checked, but if it's under, land trust,
Yeah.
then it wouldn't be a.
It's a moot point.
It's a moot point anyway.
He'd be stupid.
So I don't know if it is or not.
On the agricultural program if he's,
He's not a stupid guy.
no, he's a very good farmer. Why would he
It's,
get out of
just never know.
agricultural?
Not money buy anything.
Wouldn't that mess up his taxes, you know?
Well, if he was looking to sell it, he's not gonna care.
He had the right buyer.
He's older man, he might want to cash in.
No, he's dead. The father's dead, the old guy's.
I know, but okay.
So it's a young man and even youngish and he's been farming right along and he's
Yeah.
really good.
Government might put him out of business
Yeah.
with the fertilizer.
Changing the zoning designation to mixed use, it's not forcing him to do anything. He can still keep it in land trust if it is. He can still farm it. It just gives him the option later on. If he gets older and he decides this isn't for me and a land developer says, listen, I'll give you $10 million for that 10 acres.
And so that,
Okay, sold.
They quick.
that's what
Oh,
happened.
my lawyer.
anything else? I move we adjourn.
Yeah,
I'll
let's-
second that motion.
That's it. Let's move on. Public
Public comment, sorry.
Is there anybody in public comment?
Raise your hand if you want to talk.
Nothing? Okay, I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Anybody second?
Second.
And all in favor, Megan,
Aye.
Fred,
I,
Michelle,
Aye.
Aye.
and Brian?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
All right.
All right.